Hello, everybody. This is Professor G's Remedies for Marketing 421. We are now on week 5, team assignment. We're still using the lemonade beverage as a backdrop. This is the lemonade launch with advertising, sustainability, and global strategy. So let's get into it. All right. So you are a company launching a lemonade beverage into the market. You will need to prove that this lemonade meets company goals by providing a strategy backed up by research and solid reasoning. You need to demonstrate to the bank that you are a company that supports local charities. So that there is your scenario. You're coming up with some exciting advertising, eye-catching, heart-moving advertising strategies to reach your target audience and connect them with the product that solves all of their problems. And that is what you're doing, as well as getting into a strategy to go global and demonstrating to the bank that you are very much into supporting local charities. Okay, so starting out, advertising and marketers like to call anything that has to do with the promotion side of the marketing mix. If you remember the 4Ps, the product, place, price, and then we're on promotion now. And we call it integrated marketing communications because it's integrated. It's from the top down. It's 100% mirrors the company's missions and values. It's every employee knows exactly where the company stands about promoting the product, and it take on the character of the company. Has a culture, and that is translated through every aspect of the promotion strategy, every bit of the product, and get it into the hands of the customer, because it comes down to experience. It comes down to what experience the customer has to build that brand equity, if you remember from earlier, so that they will become a more integral part of your company, and they will be a more integral part and a return customer. Now, there are promotional elements. The assignment goes over a few. I cleaned it up a little bit. See what you think. Advertising. This could be print advertisements. This can be TV ads or radio ads. Public relations. We're going to go into that in depth. E-marketing. That has anything to do with the internet to also include social media marketing as well. There's some older ones which has to do a lot with banners and email. The newer ones has to do with analytics from social networking sites in order to target people and build some kind of little culture going on with that. There's direct marketing, which is like any type of mail or telemarketing, event marketing that's going to any type of event, having a booth or having some kind of display, sponsoring something at an event, things like that. Outdoor marketing, that would be like billboards or anything on the side of buses and taxis. Personal selling, that is your sales force. There is product placement that has a lot to do with that sponsorship, also in movies or even in nonprofit situations in which you are doing an exchange. You're giving lemonade out to an event locally, things like that. And then sales promotions. That's anything that has to do with getting people pretty much into the stores, sales coupons, deals, rebates, that type of thing. All of that connects with the promotional mix. You have your message, and it's geared towards a specific target audience, and you are fighting against a lot of times a lot of noise. Everybody's got their message, to get there. So you have to decide on where you need to go and how you're going to get your word out. And a lot of that has to do with the amount of frequency and reach in the advertising. A lot of social media does that. E-marketing will do that. Of course, TV and radio, they already have that stuff listed. They watch those things and how many people they reach at whatever specific time attached to whatever programs and stuff like that. So that is very important so that you can cut through the noise and get your target market's attention. Now, the PLC, remember that? That's the product life cycle. That has a lot to do with the decisions on how the company goes forward with advertising your product. The company brand, that is a very important thing. You got to make sure that it's mixed in well with the message and is very integrated with your values and missions. Your the purchase phase. Where are these people in the phase of your lives and making a decision? Every year around tax return time, that's a certain phase now, isn't it? People are going to have a little bit more money. They're going to buy things like, I don't know, about every 10 years, I use a tax return to buy a mattress. That's just what happens. It's been 10 years. I got 2,000 extra dollars. I'm going to buy a mattress. Where are you in that purchase phase? Company goals and budget. What are you looking at especially in the financial section? Are you looking to gain more market share? Are you looking to introduce the product or remind people, just like in the PLC? What are you set for the budget? Is your budget set on what you did last year plus a little bump, a little more? Or is this you're based upon what type of return on investment are you going to look for? What kind of sales you're going to get in? That all varies there. And every company is different in the way they look at those things and make those decisions. I know our company, when we do sponsorship, they ask, is number one, is this a customer of ours? How much money did they spend with us last year? Or if they're not a customer of ours, how much money do you expect to do in business over the next year? They always ask me that question, and that's in my. I just guess a lot of times, but you know, I've always been missing. I've been way lower. I always get way more money out of customers when I do a sponsorship for some reason. So it's always been well worth the money to sponsor an event. And then in-house or contractor, meaning how much of this advertisements are going to be handled with your own marketing department? How much are you going to contract with some kind of marketing or advertising agency? Maybe a research agency, somebody who has other connections with the TV shows, the social media outlets. They can manage your social media advertisements, stuff like that. There's a lot of new companies out there that are doing that. So, how much are you going to handle by your own marketing department, and how much are you going to give over to some kind of advertising agency? And then lastly is push and pull marketing strategy when it comes to promotions, and we'll go over that in a little bit. Push and pull marketing. Now, this is mostly to do with sales promotions. It's either getting people into the store, but if they're already in the store, how are you going to get them to make the purchase decision? So the push strategy, basically the image is pushing it on to the customer who comes in, is the sales force. It's a big part of that push strategy. Point of purchase displays is a very passive thing. It just make sure that it's in the right place in the store where there's a lot of foot traffic. Samples, handing out samples can be a great push strategy. It's also in the pull strategy because you can send samples to the mail as well. And premiums is like the discountings and things like that. Maybe you have a discount. Then it could be also in the pull strategy, but you could do a discount right there in order to push the person into a purchase decision, and deals as well. Pull strategy, that's your coupons, rebates, you got your contests, your sweepstakes. It's all pull. It all brings folks into the store or into making a purchase decision, sending out samples, and then having the deals, the premiums, the discounts, and then loyalty programs is a great way. I keep on going. I'm a big Panera. Panera with loyalty programs, it can't be, you know, I think the worst loyalty program is Albertsons because I never know if I get anything from it. I just put in my telephone number and I think I'm on a loyalty program. But like Panera, it's always quick. It's like, I do like maybe 3 weeks or a month's worth of purchases at Panera, like maybe once or twice a week, over there. And like every month I get like a free like salad or sandwich or like a drink, or it's like that loyalty program pays off. And so that's what you want to do with a loyalty program. Public relations. Now you're going to have a portion of this in which you're going to have to prove to the bank, hey, we are a company that is very much into our local communities and supporting local programs. And so that is the public relations side of a promotional mix. So, public relations, you have to connect certain things. You got to connect with the company values. You want to make sure that the things that you are sponsoring and connecting with and helping out with matches your brand image and your company values. Now, you also should connect with your target audience. These are folks that are going to have probably the biggest buy in to your brand image. And you make sure that these public relations things that you're doing, these sponsoring of certain events and other nonprofits, are where your target audience is as well. You're going to develop long term relationships with these companies, not short term. When you make a decision to sponsor something, it's not for the one time only. It's for a very, very long time. Now, a very important thing is being able to self regulate yourself as a company, to have higher ethical and moral values. To give you a really good example, especially during this COVID-19 thing, you see certain companies giving money back at this time. They had some serious social pressure to do that. And so they did the right thing. I know the company I work for, our CEO isn't taking a paycheck during this time. So doing those type of things are very strong public relations building activities. Sponsorships, we talked about that, of certain events in nonprofit organizations. Endorsements, getting those people, even other like folks, companies, celebrities, even CEOs or whatever of other companies that support the same nonprofits you do, also support you and also look at you as a reliable source. Co-promotion with other companies on certain activities, nonprofit activities, local events is very important. We talked about providing, let's say there's the Walk for Life or something, and you provide cups with your logo on it. I mean, that's what you want to do. And that's a great way to have product placement there, and you provided those things. Make sure that you have news releases. That is a big always public relations is free. Press conferences, and then public service announcements. If you are a prominent, I know locally there is a very good prominent nonprofit, though, organization, but they seem to get a lot of press, and they'll do PSAs as well, and that's Hoffman Hospice. Hoffman Hospice has been a very strong nonprofit business in town that has been a kind of a go-to for many like PSAs and endorsements as far as that's concerned. Now, moving on to global marketing. Now, when you're talking about this and you're talking about this to other management and everything, you got to know what you're talking about, because like other countries, if you've ever been to another country, it really is a whole other world. And so knowing what you're doing and what you're committing to do that is very important. So the first thing you need to decide on is if you're going to be an international, multinational, or transnational company. Here's the differences, right? An international company will make stuff here and ship it over. They will and it's got to have that brand image. People are going to want that. Like Levi's in Japan. If it's not made in San Francisco, they don't want it, right? And so they want that directly. They want Americanized commercials and stuff like that over there. That's what they want. Okay, they want that feel to it. So it's just direct. It's like basically no difference, other than whatever regulatory laws and stuff like that you got to obey over there. It's direct, pretty much. Multinational is a company who will modify everything. They may not even sell the same products overseas. They will actually have manufacturing overseas. So they'll put a factory there or what have you. That's pretty important. They or they may not do that. They may make something specifically for that market. I know Yamaha Instruments will do that. They will vary that all over the place, all over the world. Make different types of instruments for different markets. And then a transnational is the combination of the both, making available your stuff direct from another country and export it to that country, as long as it fits that brand image and fits the desires of the target market over there, they will do that. Like Levi's would do that. But if they can have an opportunity to make pants cheaper, like Dockers or something, cheaper in another country, they will do that as well. And they will just go ahead and ship it around the Far East, or they'll ship them back into the United States. All right. So that's the differences when you're talking about global businesses and global marketing. Uh, so moving forward, you also got to consider what's taboo in other countries. I'm always learning about this stuff. Even here in the United States, culture is changing at such a rapid pace. There's no doubt that stuff's going on overseas. We go. Anytime I go into another country, it's like, oh, okay. So how am I going to phrase my next sentence? All right. So we you got to understand the customs, symbols, and language. So what's ever considered normal over there? Toilets are different in the Far East, are they not? What's expected? Okay, you can expect not to see toilet paper there, right? Okay, so that type of thing. Those are customary on how they handle their their waste and regulatory expectations. There are certain things that there is to do that you should do, shouldn't do over there, and how your company makes a product over there can very much depend on that. What kind of carbon footprint are you leaving? Those type of things. Social expectations as well can be very big. What do you do when you meet somebody for the first time? That type of thing. The bowing instead of shaking hands. Which hand do you shake with? That type of thing. Symbols and languages. Hand gestures, big deal. Very huge deal over there. And so, yeah. Body language is very important. And also, what you wear to a meeting. If you don't wear a suit in some places, that's an extreme insult. So, yeah, where you stand is very important as well. What you do in meetings, this is what we're talking about. Social gatherings as well. The clothes you wear. Packaging of your products can be very important. Some symbols can be very offensive. Some places, some colors can be offensive. So you got to know how the packaging is going to work. And then lastly, your advertisements. How are you going to advertise so that you don't offend anybody? That's important. Then lastly, ethics and morals. We talked about this a little bit, going farther into depth. Uh, so the laws kind of dictate. There's a lot of different laws that, and you can read up on this in the book. The laws uh, that companies are supposed to abide by in advertising. You got to make sure, especially if you're going to advertise, and let's say you have a lemonade, especially a lemonade, and when do you advertise it, and how do you advertise it? How do you package that message? If it's a hard lemonade, guess what? There's certain times of days you can't advertise on the TV, and certain channels you cannot advertise on, right? So that's very important to know. And that kind of definitely goes against the idea that everybody's a target market right there. South regulatory systems. I know that marketing has a few. The American Marketing Associations, AMA, is one very good one that handles a lot of self-regulatory type things. Core values. Make sure that if you stick with your core values as a company, and these are ethical and moral values, and your employees stick with them every day, that that will go a lot farther in making sure that you keep up with ensuring the operation of those and carrying through those values. And then keep it up with that brand image. You don't want to do anything to ruin that brand image. We ran into that at our company with COVID-19. There were a lot of competitors that were illegally opened, and so what do we do on our end of it? We're a large company, we're not a small business. If we get one of this stuff, do we report it or do we not? How would it look if a large corporation puts a small corporation, a small business, in in jail? How would it look that we caused them to get fined? How would that look? So there are just some things, that you need to do to ensure that you behave responsibly within a community. We are doing our thing, and we are not going out and and doing business face to face. We're following the laws and regulations of our local uh, states in order to protect our brand image. We're doing it right. So, anyways, this has been great. Um, this is the last one for me for Marketing 421. So please leave a comment, and if you have any questions or have any suggestions, or want to strike a conversation. And this has been Professor G's Remedies for Marketing 421. Have an awesome, awesome day.